jump on here real quick and talk about that because a lot of times on Mondays is all about like being motivated. David Meltzer, what's up, bro? I see you right there. Let's jump in this thing. Let's get you on. David Meltzer, my guy. Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on Monday.
Hey, thanks so much for joining today. I just want to just a few minutes of your time. I know everyone's busy, but I just had this thought when I was walking on the beach today, like Monday motivation, right? And just how to stay focused on our own path to success without looking around too much. I just wanted to get your idea and your thoughts on that. What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, my tomorrow starts today. So for me, I've completely shifted the paradigm of time. So Monday starts at 9 p.m. on Sunday, and that's with an unwinding routine. And so, number one, don't necessarily conform to the man made constructs of time, these beginnings of the weeks, ends of the weeks. For me, it's the consistent, persistent pieces that allow us to pursue our potential. Then, as far as focus comes into play, I subscribe to one philosophy. You can only focus in on one thing at a time. Just that one philosophy helps so many people because what you start realizing is, just like your tricep, Aaron, you got all these different muscles. And, when we're little, we think of tricep as one thing. Then as you get older and they start training you, they're like, here's this part of your tricep, this part of your tricep, this exercise for this part of your tricep. Well, the same thing goes on with your mind. And what we start realizing about the mind is that we can only focus in on one thing at a time. So there's a part of our mind, a muscle that allows us to refocus. See, the mind, the thoughts that we have, it vibrates or it moves faster than the speed of light, which
Right.
means our thoughts move faster than time itself. So if we can practice and build the muscle on how to refocus, meaning here, I know my what, I know who I can help or who can help me, I know how I'm going to get it done. I'm now prioritizing by, I call it do it now. I know what I'm going to do now. Once I know what I'm going to do now, when something else occurs, I have to go ahead and gather as much data from the secondary thought or the secondary instance and refocus back to the primary prioritization activity that I was doing. Because if you can refocus fast enough and gather enough data, you can appear to do two or three things at the same time, but still keep your eyes on the ball, meaning your number one focus, whatever that prioritized activity may be. If people practice refocusing, I think they'll find a lot more productivity, accessibility, and gratitude in their day. They won't care if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. They'll be able to start and do things now. Every day is the first day of the rest of your life.
I love that, man. I love that. See, that's why I wanted you on here, just to kind of share that motivation and, what's going on for me. And if anyone listening is experiencing this too, please put this in the chat or ask a question. But, sometimes we look around on Instagram or Facebook or all these different platforms, Clubhouse, all this stuff, and we try to get inspiration from other people. But I feel like we can get caught up in other people's stories and other people's success. That's why I titled this Stay Focused on Your Version of Success. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So number one, comparison's the thief of joy. So I try
Hmm.
not to compare myself to anyone. I try to stay on my own consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. There's three things that people focus in on that cause them not to get what they want. One is what other people want for them or what other people have. If you focus in on what other people want for you or what other people have, you're not going to get what you want. If you focus in on what's missing in your life, which occurs when you focus in on what other people have, you end up getting what's missing in your life. If you end up focusing, which so many people do, on what you don't want in your life, you're going to get more of what you don't want in your life. So what you want to do is vote for what you want to make sure you know your what, your who, your how, your now, and apply your why. In fact, anybody wants those 5 daily practices, I always send them for free to everyone. David at dmeltzer.com. Go ahead, DM me at David Meltzer. But these 5 daily practices will make you more productive, accessible, and gracious. They'll make you more money, help with more people, and have more fun in your life than you've ever had.
Oof. So good. So good. What about overwhelm? when we get a little overwhelmed with certain things, like we got a long to-do list and, we get a little caught up in the whole thing and we can't just concentrate on one thing. We see too much. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, so there's three zones that we live in. One is a comfort zone. That's when you're sitting at home on your mom's couch doing nothing, very comfortable. You don't have to worry about anything. Then you have the learning zone, which is where we make mistakes, setbacks, setups, all those types of different things, failures occur. Then we have the anxiety zone. So the number one thing that we need to identify is when are we in the anxiety zone? Let me tell you why. If you live in the learning zone, it expands. So that means what used to make you anxious now is in your learning zone. What used to make you comfortable, right? Your comfort now was in your learning zone. So you're expanding and growing like the universe does. If you're in the anxiety zone, this overwhelm zone, where you have a need to be separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, it constricts down. So even the most highly functional people that live in the anxiety zone too long, they sometimes have nervous breakdowns. They can't even get out of bed. Their comfort zone becomes this big. Their anxiety
Right.
zone becomes this big. So what you want to do is, number one, identify what triggers you to be anxious. And then instead of fight it, because what you resist persists, just simply stop, breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, what I call drop down to center, and then go back onto the trajectory of what you want. Do what you need to do. Get rid of the interference between you and what already exists. You are healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise, worthy. Go ahead, focus and shift the paradigm by getting rid of that interference and allowing you to stay in the learning zone and understand and identify the triggers of the anxiety zone.
Oh, man, I love that. Okay, last thing I have for you, and I'm gonna let you go, David. But I know you recently interviewed Tim Grover and talked about winning on your podcast. And for I just want you to make, I don't know, a minute or two of your reflections on that conversation right here, right now, with all of us. And if you can make it relatable, because not everyone's an athlete, right? Not everyone's a business person, but how can we find wins today in our day? How can we experience winning?
Yeah, so winning is actually the pursuit. My friends Chris Gardner and Will Smith created a book and a movie. It was called In the Pursuit of Happiness. And I think what we have to shift, and what all winners do, is they shift the happiness to the pursuit. They detach themselves from the championship. That enables them to receive the championships. Now, they do that with the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of their own potential. They have a desire not only to be what they must be, but to be what they are. See, they have a primary understanding that they already are a winner. They have to do what it takes in order to illustrate what that spirit of excellence liberates within themselves and others, right? Everyone has this extraordinary power, and we're not afraid of what we can accomplish. Most people are afraid of how much power they have, and they diminish themselves to make other people feel comfortable around them. People like Michael Jordan, who worked with Tim Grover, never diminished their own capacity. They liberated themselves and their light to elevate others, and that's how they became great. And that's why they won, is they actually enjoyed the consistent, persistent pursuit of their greatness.
Mm, mm. And when we go through challenges today and we see someone else that may be experiencing not winning or, maybe struggling, right? How do we as inspired leaders, as winners, carry that energy that you're talking about right now? How do we not lose it, right? How do we not let other people's energy affect us too much?
Yeah, well, first of all, you have to surround yourself with the right people, the right ideas. You have to utilize what I call the great chain of feeding. So if people feed you, feed them. If they're not feeding you, allow them to fall away in varying degrees, determined upon how and when you have to be around them, family, associates, etc. And most importantly, if somebody bleeds you, regardless of your relativity to them, I don't care if they're family, if they're an employer, employee, fire them. So you have this great chain of feeding. If it feeds you, feed it. If it doesn't, allow it to fall away in varying degrees. But if it bleeds you, fire it.
I love that. Man, David, thank you so much for coming on just for a few minutes here. Just a little Monday motivation for myself and for anyone listening. Hopefully, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you. Please, anybody reach out to me. David@dmeltzer.com. I'm happy to be of service. Aaron, I'm so proud of you. Reach out anytime. I'll come back on anytime for you. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, bro. You too.
Take
Appreciate you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.